Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good evening for, I don't know what part of the world you are. Today's live stream is going to be about the essential and emotional needs, the 2026 version. I had done this, I believe, last year or the year before that. I don't remember exactly. I think that it was last year. And it was actually a very nice, very insightful kind of reading, romantic, but more, focus on what they need instead of, like, oh, what kind of partner would they attract, or how they would be like. I do have the recommendations. Thank you so much. So yes, for today on my list, I have for these readings, I have Lee Know of Stray Kids. Then I have Han from Stray Kids as well, Jason. Then I have the actress Kim Jo Hoon. I have Blackpink Jennie. boynextdoor Taesan, Riize Anton, Enhypen Jay, Xiao Zhan, the actor, and another actor. His name is Chen Zheyuan. Chen Zheyuan. Sorry, my handwriting, it's like, I know it's really difficult to read. I know that there's people that have issues trying to decipher what my handwriting says. But when I write it down, I make sure to be, to take my time and be not write so fast and be so specific, especially with certain names, that I need to differentiate a new from an N or something like this. And I don't know, when I see it, I'm like, that's not, what did you write? Why did you write it there? I cannot see it. What is that? Is that a U, an N? Oh my God. Those are the things that I do. Thank you so much for the likes, guys. It means a lot to me that you interact with me, with my account. Thank you. So yes, I don't know if there's other people that struggles with bad handwriting, but I have that problem. When I was maybe younger, I would be like, well, as long as I understand what it says, like I would understand what I wrote down, But now, I don't know if it's because I should be wearing my glasses. Honestly, I always say the same, like I should get my glasses in here, especially when I'm trying to read the recommendations, the list, the messages. But I don't know. I guess I have a bit of, resistance to that because I don't bring my glasses here. I should, because why am I forcing my eyesight for this? But yes. Then later, if I have time, I'm going to include a few recommendations that I have also from the prior live stream that didn't happen because I was sick. And I have someone wanted a reading for I believe it's an actor, Chaemin, and his partner, Ryu Dain. I know I read for them, they have a reading on my channel, but they wanted like an update. to see how the relationship is going. So I'm going to read for that. And then I have Xlov. Also, someone wanted an update for Xlov, the group. Okay, I'm going to start, guys, because I do have a long list. Okay, I want to start with Lee Know of Stray Kids. Let's see, for this moment, 2026, his emotional or sensual needs. Let's see. Let's see, Lee Know. Wow. I think that honestly, Lee Know is going from, I mean, his energy feels very stuck. Emotionally and sensually, maybe. I think that he doesn't want to connect with his emotions, nor his feelings, nor his sensual needs. I think that he is a bit like frustrated, I must say. Also a bit confused, a bit on the defensive, a bit angry, I must say. Like, I think that there's a defensiveness also in the way he communicates. Maybe, there's people that they do ask him, like, okay, what do you find attractive? What your ideal is? What your idea of romance is? What is your, preference? And I think that he's so like, I'm tired of people asking that. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Or at this point in my life, I'm not sure. And I think that there's a bit of anger about that. Like, I don't want to talk about that. He got the 2 of Swords, he had the 5 of Swords, and we have the Hangman. So I think that he's a bit confused about what he needs. And we have unrequited desire. Unrequited desire. So I think that probably there's a frustration in here. I don't know if he's frustrated about a person or if he's frustrated about, a relationship that just failed, or maybe, he had his eye on someone and that person wasn't available, or that person just, I don't know, it just didn't work. And I think that there's a part of him that he still wants that person, or he still thinks about that person. And maybe he cannot resist that person. There's something, we're talking about the sensual part. So unrequited desire is like, I wanted that person, but that person didn't want me. So I think that this is where the frustration comes from, that people want to ask him, or they just want him to maybe like, can you tell us a bit more about, what you fantasize about? What do you need? What does your heart need? And he's like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm a bit like, he's a bit overwhelmed, I must say. I think that he's someone that also, when he feels a bit frustrated with these matters, he tends to shut down. And I think that the Hangman is definitely this. I think that if he does have like this unrequited desire for someone, and if he's frustrated about this, I don't see him doing something about this. I don't see him, trying to, get closer to the person, maybe, open a conversation about this, letting the person know how he feels, trying to seduce the person more. No, I think that he's like, no. If this is how you feel about me, if this is unrequited, I will not fight for this. He can be a bit passive aggressive. If he runs into this person, into the object of his, desire, he can be a bit, a bit sharp. be hurtful with words, because he feels frustrated himself, that he cannot, that maybe his essential needs is like block. Probably he has this with this specific person. So he's like someone that, okay, if it's not with that person, I don't want it with someone else. So he realizes that he feels um a bit unstable about this. Like, I don't like it. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. Like, don't come near me. I don't want to see you. I think and also he doesn't open up. He doesn't open up about what he needs. I think that there's behind all of this, of course, there's a bit of, sadness, and also there's something about, maybe. Maybe Lino is not used to having this dynamic of this unrequited desire. Maybe he always had the possibility to choose, or he always had the possibility to, okay, these people are interested in me. So I knew, I had that confidence because I knew. But in this case, he knows that this is unrequited for him. So I think that this is so, awkward for him. This is so, like, this is so uncomfortable. This is so uncomfortable, and I think that he's not inspired. He's not inspired. He's like, I don't need anything right now of anyone because the person that I wanted is not available. So yeah, I think that this is for this year. I think that he's going to be a bit moody about matters of the heart, desire. We just have to let him be. And probably do not ask so many, personal questions, because I think that he doesn't like to talk about, emotions with people. He's like, no, I don't have to tell you that. Why are you asking? That's a private matter. And probably he doesn't even know, he's in this process in his life that he's like, I don't know right now. I'm not that connected with my emotions. I have other things in my mind. I have other priorities. I'm not contemplating like my emotional needs or how I feel. I'm not, really. Okay, let's see. Sorry, I cannot see the number. Okay, let's see Han, Stray Kids Han, Jisung. Oh my, what is going on with these Stray Kids people? Wow. Well, yeah. Okay. For Han of Stray Kids, we have the Three of Swords, we have the Justice, and we have the Page of Wands. And we have the card of Beyond Words. Beyond Words. Can I show you the cards because they're naked? Beyond Words. Yeah, definitely. He went through a breakup, or he just, was suffering in silence for someone. Maybe there was a misunderstanding. And we have the Justice in the middle. So I think that, yeah, his emotional needs are usually, I don't want to say that they are ignored, but he feels, he personally feels like, a lot of sorrow or disappointment for how, I don't think that he blames others because I don't see another person, but I think that he's like, I put myself in situations where, I tend to not be fair with myself, or I tend to not take care of my emotional needs. I always put the other person's needs as a priority, and as a consequence, I end up hurting myself. So, with the justice, I think that yes, what he needs is balance. And I think that he's slowly like trying to figure out how to achieve that for himself. How to stop, being so maybe available for the person that he loves, for the person that he likes, and just like do not hurt yourself like that. Because balance is necessary for someone like Han. Is necessary to be balanced, not to give too much nor being selfish. I think that he has to find the balance, and he has to find also understanding from the other part. I think that there's something about him. Maybe he is, very sensitive. We have the Three of Swords here, so maybe there's something about him in the past, letting people know, people that he cared about, like, you really hurt me when you said this, or you really hurt me when you did this. And I think that maybe there's a bit of disbelief from the other part. Like, when I told you that I didn't like this, or I felt very bad after this, the other person maybe doesn't take accountability. And I think that this is where the justice enters, and it's like, okay, if they don't realize what they have done wrong, maybe you are with the wrong people, or maybe you are talking to, someone that is super egocentric, someone that is just, there's no reciprocity. It's just you getting hurt. It's just you, feeling like this is not fair. And I think that there's something about he has to, learn with time. He's very young, but he has to learn with time that, relationships, any kind of relationship, is all about balance. It's all about give and receive. So if from the other part there's only, hurtful things, words, treatment, I think that he's like, no, you have to, prioritize yourself, and you also have to hold people accountable. Like, if you feel like they had hurt you or offended you, express it. Be open to the other person, if they want to defend themselves, or if they want to say something, but just, let them know how they make you feel. Don't let them get away with like, well, Han will get over it, or Han will understand this. No, don't allow heartache. Don't allow, sorrow in your life. I think that he probably is a bit, used to, people being really harsh on him, and I don't think that he should get used to that. To the bad treatment, to the passive aggressiveness, to like, oh, I say this to you, this hard or this harsh. I say this truth to you because I care. No, there's other ways to communicate. And I think that for someone like himself, maybe he's Han. For someone like Han, he's someone that he's super sensitive to what the person that he loves, or someone, special. Even it could be a friend, it could be, a loved one. He gets offended pretty easily. So you have to treat him with care. And I think that he's not used to this, but I think that this is what he needs. He needs to know that he can count on the other part. This is because, if you see in the justice, we have the scale. So, I think that there's something just very important about this, that he has to have the other part. The other part has to be present, for the good times and the bad times. They have to be there if they want to be with him. There's no absences in here, and I think that he has to, realize that he deserves, a fair companionship. We have the Page of Wands, so I can see him, getting more bold, more brave about this. I think that he's also maybe learning to assert himself and his desires more. I can kind of see him. Maybe he's attracted to someone, or he's starting, to feel attraction towards someone. I don't see feelings yet, but I think that he's starting to move on from this and just starting to be a bit more brave and not feeling so like a victim of his circumstances. It's like the beginning stages, but I think that this year there's something about Han's energy that it feels like he's becoming more brave about love, relationships, and what he desires. It's like, I have to move, I have to go and get what I want, what I deserve. So it's really nice. And also, with the card beyond words, so I think that yes, he probably is more like, nowadays he's probably is like, I want to do more. I want to approach the person that I like or that I desire. I want to touch them. I want to be in contact with them. I want to, take action. The Page of Wands is also like, very impulsive, but it's like, I'm going to take the risk and I'm going to go to that person and beyond words, just like the Oracle says, it's like beyond conversations and like messages, cute messages. I need more. I need more than words. I need more than messages. I need more than texts. I want you to show me, with actions, with your presence, with your body language. I want you to show me that you really want me, or that, that you are here with me and that you accept me. And so therefore I can advance. He kind of needs, the person to let him know that it's okay for him to approach them. And I think that there's an open door here. I don't see resistance. It's just that, he's slowly learning about maybe these sensual matters, like, okay, through maybe a body language or a touch or a gentle gesture, I can let you know that I'm interested and that I want you, and that this is sensual, that this is sensual, that this is desire. It's not like me being cute. No, it's because, I feel attracted to you. So, but he's very careful because he's probably, waiting for permission. Like, he's like, do I do this or not? He's not that bold, like he usually is not. But I think that this year he's slowly starting to connect with that part of him, with that more, with his desire. He's like, I'm done with the talking. I want more closeness. I want us to understand each other in other aspects, more sensual aspects. Hey, Totalino. Morning. No, I just started. No, I just started with Lee Know, with Han, and now I have the actress Kim Joo-hoon. I have Blackpink Jennie. I have boynextdoor Taesan, Riize Anton, Enhypen Jay, Chinese actor Xiao Zhan, and Chen Zheyuan. Yes, a lot. Yeah, nice variety, exactly. I have to make up for my absence. I have to make it up. Okay. Let's see, Kim Joo-hoon, the actress. Her emotional and sensual needs. Let's see. Okay. We have Judgment. We have the Four of Cups in reverse that I usually don't read reverse, but this came like this, so I'm going to take it. And we have the High Priestess. A lot of secrets. And we have the card of the sweetest taboo. The sweetest taboo. Sweetest taboo. I think that, yeah, the judgment, the High Priestess definitely lets me know that she, when it comes to her emotional and sensual needs, there's something about her just knowing what she needs, but there's also maybe not a good reception from the people, or maybe if she had opened up about these matters, what she needs, or what she wants, what she desires. I think that there's a lot of judgment from, maybe because I have the High Priestess, so it feels like the feminine, maybe her group of mother, other women they try to encourage her to not, like, do not talk about that. Oh, you don't need to think about that. That's not so important. Like, what are emotions anyways? So I think that with the judgment, there's a bit of like, I know what I need, or I'm very connected with, that what my soul wants, or what my body wants, or what I desire. But there's also a bit of like, I don't want to, go that deep, or I don't want to talk about it because people will judge me. People will judge me harshly. And I think that this comes also not just because she's famous, and maybe there's something about people projecting a lot on her and being like, oh, she had fulfilled all our fantasies because she had been in this series or in this drama, and she had kissed this person that is like the most handsome guy, and then she had this collaboration with this other handsome guy, and I think that for her it's like, this is not, that is not, that's me working, that's not the real her, experiencing something emotional, something exciting, something passionate, fire, desire. No, it's not. Sometimes people, I think that people just, because they are really good at their jobs, because they're actors, sometimes people are like, oh, but you must be so happy, or you must meet a lot of handsome and interesting people because you are so beautiful yourself. And she's like, no, actually, I think that when it comes to her emotional world, there's a lot of judgment. Probably there's something about her even not being allowed to be emotional, not being allowed to connect with that part of herself. Like, no, don't be sensitive, or no, don't cry, or no, don't go there. You have to, touch your emotions when you're working, or if this serves a purpose, that is to work. But I think that there's something about her being like, no, I know at this, time in her life, probably at this age of hers, that she has more experience in autonomy. She's slowly waking up from this. We have the Four of Cups in reverse. So there's something about her slowly, waking up from this, sort of like dream, from this very unconscious state of like, I don't want to connect with them, my emotions. I don't know what I need. I don't know myself, but I think that since it's in reverse, she's slowly waking up, and she's like, no, I have to. And also I think that with the Four of Cups, there's also a feeling of like, maybe she's someone that, she's very blessed in that sense, that she has a lot of people that they're always there for her. They make sure that she's okay. They make sure that she is satisfied, with everything. Like, what do you need? Do you want us to do this for you? We will do it. Do you want us to go with you here? We will go with you. But I think that there's something about her, waking up and being like, I kind of feel empty sometimes. I I need to experience other things. I need to, just let me be. I have to experience on my own, And we have the high priestess. So I think that she's also not going to open up to people because she had experienced judgment in the past. So I think that she's going to maybe keep her emotions, her emotional needs and her sensual needs. She's going to have them somehow, protected. She's going to hide them. She's going to be like, I don't want to talk about that. She's going to play mysterious, and she's going to be mysterious about this because she doesn't want the judgment. And I think that she's like, okay, since I know how you guys get, I know that, maybe she also maybe wants to start the conversation, bring the topic about like, okay, our desires or what I like and what I don't like or what I want, and people are like, no, you have to focus on status, on, who's doing well in life. She's like, I kind of want something more. I want something deeper. But people around her are not ready to talk about that. So I think that this is why there's silence from her part. And probably if she does experience, some exciting encounter with someone, she's going to keep it hidden. Nobody's going to know because she's like, I know how you guys are. And yeah, we have the sweetest taboo. So I think that it's very interesting, the high priestess with the sweetest taboo, because probably, her hiding a connection, or, if she has an encounter with someone that she desires, or that, that really is very attractive, or she finds this person, this connection just very desirable. This is what I want to experience. This is the kind of person that I like. They make me feel good, and we have the sweetest taboo. So I think that there's something just a bit mischievous about this, like I kind of like it that I cannot tell people about this that I have, or about this relationship, or about this attraction, or about this that I feel for this person. So I think that she's going to keep it hidden because there's something just very sweet about this, very exciting about this, that is kind of like a taboo. It's like people don't expect her, to experience this kind of, maybe attraction, or there's something about her being private and the other person also being private, both of them. And with the sweetest taboo, I think that can be very exciting, very sensual as well. So I think that the part of her just not talking about it is part of the how exciting and sensual it's going to be. So I like it. I like it. You do it. Yes, exactly. If they're going to judge her, it's the best that she keeps it silence. She's like, okay, so you guys are not interested in me being happy, so I'm going to keep it to myself. Okay, I'm going to continue with Blackpink Jennie. Let's see. Let's see. Why is there reversals in my cards? Yeah, there's some that are in reverse. Okay. Okay. For Jennie, we have the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. We have the Two of Pentacles. And we have the Two of Wands. Not very emotional, but I think that she's building something, definitely. And in here we have the card of taking the plunge. Taking the plunge. Taking the plunge. Yeah, I think that she's like this could be a new like a situationship. I don't want to say like a relationship, because I think that with the Seven of Pentacles in reverse, there's something about her probably, working on this. There's I don't think that she is like emotionally connected yet, but I see effort. I see that she is like, um, she's like working on this, like about her emotional and sensual needs. She's like, like kind of like building a sort of a routine, could it be? But the Seven of Pentacles in reverse is giving me that maybe this started a bit, she's rushing, maybe in prior connections, or maybe in prior, connections, because I think that whatever Jennie needs, emotionally or sensually, she asks for this to her partners or to her significant others, to her special someone. She asks for this. She's I don't see her like she's like, no, I don't say anything and I expect the person to guess it, or we don't talk about that. No, I think that she is, putting a lot of effort on this. I think that she wants to connect with her emotional and sensual needs. There's something about her being like, I already had the conversation. This is like me working towards this. This is progress. But it's still very green. The Seven of Pentacles is that she has skipped certain steps with this person. The Seven of Pentacles is like, you wait, be patient, and here the Seven of Pentacles is like, I kind of started right away with this person. I kind of want to get moving with this person, and I want to move, towards a result. I want to see where this leads us. And we have the Two of Pentacles, we have the Two of Wands. So there's something about her being like, sometimes I'm there where I feel satisfied, where I feel like this person is like my complement. Like, I think that with this person, I can have my emotional and sensual needs met. And then there's moments where I'm like, no, we should do something different. So the Two of Wands is like, it's going to take a while also. It's going to take a while. The Two of Wands is about better planning. It's about like we are advancing, but sometimes it feels unstable. I think that, when I read for, sometimes, I don't remember exactly the last romantic reading I did for Jennie, but sometimes, her, I always say this, like her energy is very much like when it comes to maybe emotions, or when it comes to, maybe the nature of the relationship, it feels very amateur. It feels like these are people that they don't know what to do in a relationship. And it's not just her. She attracts people that are also very immature. So I think that this is something like we are trying here, or we are starting something, but we don't know what this is going to become. I just know that I'm trying to, be balanced. Also, the two twos, trying to find the balance, the reciprocity of like, well, you're new here, I'm new here, let's try to make each other happy or satisfied at least. But there's a lot of effort, and there's a future. There's, like, give them time. Give them time. She's building something. And also with the card of taking the plunge, it's about her maybe, be ready to take the plunge with this person, and probably I don't see the person, but probably there's something about her being more connected with also her desires, and being like, I don't hesitate anymore. I guess that, if we are on the same page, I'm going to, also go deep, and I'm going to take the plunge about this, and I'm going to go deep into my desires, what I want from this person, what I want from the relationship. It's just that it's just, like I mentioned, there's something about, like, I'm always interested about this, because I think that for Jennie and also for Jisoo, I don't know about Rosé. The only one that I got like more mature vibes from the Blackpink girls is Lisa. Lisa, she when we read for her and Frederick back then, she always comes represented as this queen, and he is, he is like this king also. So there was a lot of maturity and also strong personalities, like they really, it has nothing to do with age. It's more about presence, and I had been in relationships before, and this is what I want, or this is how we're going to do things. Or being a bit bossy, maybe. But I think that when it comes to Jennie and sometimes Jisoo, the relationship seems very like, I don't know if they start like friendships. So it feels very like unofficial, and they also feel a bit like starters. This doesn't feel like a proper relationship. It feels like we are getting to know each other, and we are not together. Like we are, but we are not. Like the two, so he's giving me this. Yeah, I could be with him, but maybe not. I could be with this person, but maybe not. But she's happy. She's working on this. She's working on satisfying herself. But this is and this is something that I had been noticing. And I don't know if you guys are maybe fans of the girls. I know that Jennie had released a song not so long ago that is called, how is it called? Is it called Less Than a Lover or More Than a Lover? What was it called? Is it Less Than a Lover? That is, I think that the MV is with this also, this guy that everyone was like, oh, he kind of looks like someone we know. And do you know, Chicharlino, what was the name of the song? Is it Less Than a Lover or More Than a Lover? Less Than a Lover. See that, that part. And when I read for her and other other things, that I always get that I'm like, these people, what they consider, or maybe what people think that is like a relationship. I don't think that I don't know if this is for all the idols, but I think that is something just more like innocent or more like informal than people think. But maybe in their mind, because I know that these people are famous, so maybe the schedules and everything is super hard, and also the fans, the crazy fans, also the stalkers and everything. It's really hard for them, to achieve sort of like, okay, we are together or we are dating, and I think that there's something about, in her readings, in other people's readings, sometimes in other idols readings, I also get this feeling of like, do these people see each other? Like, do they go on dates? Because it feels very odd. It feels very much like, yeah, we're together, but we just talk on the phone. Or we just, FaceTime. And yes, maybe they went out physically, like on a date, twice. Like it feels like it's not the usual, interaction of romance. Like for me, I don't know, when I was their age, of course that I don't have the schedule that they have, but a date, it's like romantic, it's, and even if it wasn't like we were supposed to meet very often, but there was something that like, you build a sort of routine with this person. And for some idols, I feel it like they don't see each other that much. So there's a bit of like messages. This is why sometimes maybe when there's people that they try to expose them, they expose, like maybe messages from idols or famous people, because I think that when it comes to experiences or meeting each other, they don't have much. It's more like, yeah, we talked. We talked. And that's, so it feels like the experience of like, this is my person. It is very is like starters, is starting, even if it looks like a fairy tale. I think that experience wise is very, it's just very green. Is not. But in the case of Jennie, I feel her like she's also very brave about this, and she's trying to build systems, maybe experiences also, where she can, maybe get more, her emotional needs, but I think that she feels safe, that, she's doing something for this, she's doing something to achieve these emotional needs and sensual needs being met. There's something about maybe, yeah, being more present, making more plans, being together more. That's important for a relationship to build. Not just like let's talk on the phone. It's more like, let's see each other. I need your presence. I need you to be with me. Yes, yeah, exactly. Mostly communicating on the phone, lots of long distance because of work. Yeah, I think that that's what I got. That's why sometimes, I'm like, it's not that frequent like people think. Like, oh, they're together. Like they are together. They're in at each other's house all the time, and it's not. It's not like that. These people are super busy, but it's not just about being busy. I think that there's an emotional distance also. It's not that romantic. It's not that. It's mostly talking about work maybe, or about the things that they have in common, but it doesn't feel like, wow, this is so, like, I'm so connected. Mm-hmm. No wonder Lisa and her ex jetted all around the world together. They wouldn't have been able to meet otherwise. Yeah, I think that also, when I used to get these kings, these queens, from her part, from his part, there's something about, yes, influence, being able, you are on another level. So you are able to pull certain strings and influences, to be able to be like, okay, we want to see each other. We want to be together. So yes, we're going over here, on this private jet, or, like, I think that there's more, yes, more agency, more freedom, more independence, because yeah, there's money. There's money. Okay, let's continue with Boy Next Door Taesan. Let's see. Boy Next Door Taesan. Okay. Two of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles. We have the 5 of Pentacles. And then we have physical attraction for Taesan. I think that, yeah, for Taesan, he's super worried about, financial matters, about his future probably. He's super worried about stability. So I can kind of see that for him, from time to time, he's like, I wish I could do more for what I need emotionally and sentimentally. But sometimes I feel like I don't want to risk what I have, especially when it comes to work, or when it comes to possibilities, or when it comes to his reality. I have a lot of pentacles in here. So I think that he's someone that he's like, I know what it's like to not have, or to not have enough. Maybe, his family also has, experienced certain, certain losses, or maybe a bit of instability when it comes to family life, or maybe their legacy, if they have legacy, or if they have a kind of business or something like this. So he's like, I know. I come from that background. So there's moments where we did really well, and there's moments where, everything was about to fall. So I think that he's like, I don't want to risk what I have. He's super worried about his career. He's very worried about his stability. He also feels like maybe, I don't know what company they're under, but there's something about him with the Five of Pentacles, feeling like he's not given that much. It's not like he's getting paid that well, or they also don't assure him that, or reassure him, they don't reassure him that he's going to be okay in the near future, or that, that like, okay, I'm saved because, I have this great company or this great, I think that there's a lot of instability at the moment. So he's like, emotionally, I cannot connect. I only can tell you that what means or what makes me, probably more emotionally connected and a bit, settled, and maybe, calming myself down, is knowing that I have a place to go to. So he's like, I don't want to lose my stability. I don't want to lose my place. I don't want to lose my, my workplace, my house, I don't know, his environment. He doesn't want to lose his, his reality, his routine, I would say. That is not like, it's not as prosperous as people think. There's something just very unstable about this. So he's like, it's not that, at least from his perspective, it's not that glamorous as people think. So he's super worried about this. So I think that for him to be okay, he would need to actually feel like he had accomplished more when it comes to maybe earnings, when it comes to job opportunities, maybe opportunities with his group. He's not seeing it right now. So he's a bit unstable about this. He's like, actually it would make me happy if we could work more, or if we could get paid a bit more. I think that things are not okay at the moment, and he's worried. We have this physical attraction. I think that also, Taesan, when it comes to his emotional needs, because I'm sure he's really young. So I think that he's super sensual, but he's a guy of his age. He does feel physical attraction for people. He sees people and that he finds, attractive, and he feels the physical attraction. And probably he also had, the lack to be reciprocated. Maybe the person that he liked or that he found attractive, that person felt the same for him. So there's something about him, his sensual needs is to experience physical attraction, more than words and like, oh my God, you're so nice. He's more like, I have to like what I see. He's a very visual person. And when he likes someone, he finds someone attractive, it's because of the way they look, the way they act. He probably finds people that are very sexy or sensual. He has that type. He's like, he cannot take his eyes away. Even if he probably can act like, I will not do anything. He will always behave. At least in this period of his life, he's like, I don't, even though I feel, physical attraction for people, and I find a lot of people attractive, and they find me attractive too, I will not act on this. I will not, let it happen because I'm worried. He's very focused on work, and things are not that prosperous at the moment. So he's also worried about this. He probably super worried about his career. So I think that and I think that he probably had a history of this. Maybe, like I mentioned, there's something about where he comes from, his family history. There's something about losses. So maybe financial losses. So this is why his emotional, reaction, it comes from this. Like, I don't want to lose, or I don't want to lose my job, or I don't want to lose my position. So he feels very, very nervous, very unstable at the moment. But he's just like, he's a man. He observes, and when he finds someone attractive, that's he reacts to this. Sorry, guys. Okay. Let's continue with Riize Anton. His emotional and sensual needs. Let's see. He's super brave, Anton. He's very brave. We have the Star, we have Temperance, and we have the Knight of Wands. Super brave. Also, he's super honest. He's like, I always get what I want. He's very loved. He's a very loved person. He he's like the golden child. He was born to carry a legacy, or he was, very wanted, so he's blessed like this. And we have the cards of jealousy and possessiveness. Jealousy and possessiveness. So yeah, he also could be a bit, when it comes to his sensual needs, he probably is very possessive. He is very possessive. There's something that he is reactive with the person that he likes. There's no hiding in here. There's no hiding in his nature. He can be a possessive and jealous kind of lover. It's like, if you're with me, you're only with me. I don't want to see you like, flirting with someone else or something like this, or just acting cute for other people. The Star, the Temperance, I think that he is someone that emotionally, and as a person, he is just very well balanced. He's someone that he's accepted. He's very loved, and he's accepted the way he is. With his temper, with his character, with his traits, personality traits. He was never restricted to be something else. I think that this is a guy that maybe his parents or the people that raised him, they would always encourage him to be who he wanted to be. So there's a lot of space for him to expand, for him to dream, for him to even get frustrated, with his decisions. And there's a lot of openness for him to become who he wants to be. The Temperance is also that he has a great, he has a temper, because the Knight of Wands at the end, he's also someone that he is a man of his age. Also, he's very outspoken. He has a personality, and he can be impulsive. We know he's a fire sign. So there's something about him, he's a go-getter, he's like, when I want something, I go and get it. Or when I want to transform a reality, I go and do. But in the middle, we have the Temperance. So I think that he also knows how to regulate himself. He's like, okay, I will wait. You told me to wait, or you tell me, that I need to observe this more, or I need to wait for when the time is right. And he's like, okay, I will be patient. I will wait. But then, with the Knight of Wands, I think that there's something just very reactive about maybe, I think that he's someone that he knows what he needs. His emotional and sensual needs, he knows them. He's very passionate. He's very honest. He's not going to lie to you and be like, oh yeah, whatever you give me is fine. No. He probably has like high, expectations about, what makes him happy. So I see him very spoken and acting on this. So maybe if he can be patient, he can wait, he can, frustrate himself and just like wait, and be like, okay, life is not, always easy. It's not that I always will get what I want. But then, he's also someone that doesn't stay like waiting for a lot of time. He's like, okay, if you're not going to make me happy, or if I'm not satisfied with this situation, I will move. I will get out of here. Or I will go and find another instance, another circumstances that can lead me to me fulfilling my emotional needs. And also probably he's someone that he can be very peaceful also. The Temperance is like, I can be zen when I want to. I can be, very peaceful, very mindful, I can be patient. But then he has also this very heroic kind of side, where he's like, well, I went enough. So if this is not working for me and I don't find the satisfaction or the happiness, I'm going to move. I'm going to go and do something about this. I'm going to change locations. I'm going to go get another hobby. I'm going to get myself entertained. He's someone that he doesn't waste his time. He's someone that he's like, I wasn't born to be, stuck. He doesn't want to be stuck. He doesn't want to be a prisoner of circumstances. He's like, I understand that, we have to be patient with other people, or we have to, wait for others. But I think that in his case, he's just very happy guy. He has, with the star in the temperance, he's just a guy that, maybe emotionally, he never lacked anything. He always had it. And probably emotionally, he's just a happy guy. He's very happy. He's very balanced. He feels wanted. There's something about him being like, well, I'm here in this world because, my parents wanted me to be here. so I'm happy to be here, because everyone is here happy to see me. So, he's a star. He's the star of his experience. Maybe I don't want to say he's like the favorite child. If he is like the only son, I wouldn't be shocked if he's like the only child, or maybe the only son. But it feels something like very famous about this, very glamorous. But at the same time, he's wild. He moves. He doesn't take for granted his, his very nice, balanced attitude. He's just someone that he's very positive. Also, he's super positive. He's not troubled. It's just that, yes, he is a man of his age. With the Knight of Wands, he wants to explore. He wants to go out more. Maybe there's something about him wanting to maybe do what people of his age do more. And, being an idol, sometimes you have restrictions. You cannot go out. You cannot be, spontaneous about certain, interactions, especially with the opposite sex, because people will be talking. So this is, a conflict. He sometimes can be feeling a bit restless about like, why can't I go out with my friends? Why can't I talk to this girl? That is not that he's interested. It's more like he's friendly. He's just very open. I think that there's moments where he's going to be rebellious, and I always say this. I think that we had this conversation. We had this conversation a long time ago when we used to rant on the live streams, and instead of me pulling cards. And I always get this vibe that it must be really difficult for a fire sign, especially an Aries person, Aries man, Aries woman, or Aries strong placements, to be an idol. It must be really tough. Because I think that there must be like a conflict inside of them. Like, I cannot be myself. I cannot be outspoken. I cannot be honest. They don't let me. I feel like a prisoner. I cannot open my mouth. I cannot move the way I want to. I cannot laugh the way I want to. I always, everything I do is wrong. So I think that I always am like, wow, it must be tough to be an Aries person and being an idol, because there must be a lot of frustration. Like, I just cannot be myself. I cannot be myself. And I think that Aries is like the baby, is a child, it's the baby of the zodiac. So there's something about them at the end always doing or saying what they want to say, because it is how it goes for them. They don't apologize for being themselves. And I think that this authenticity maybe is not something that, that this industry is ready for, He has a younger brother. But yeah, jealousy and possessiveness. Yes. Jealousy and possessiveness. Yes, he can be jealous and possessive in his, the more he desires someone, he can get jealous and possessive. Yeah. But it's because, just like I said, he's used to, being treated correctly. He's used to, being praised, being loved. So, he probably doesn't want to share. He doesn't want to share his partner. He's like, no, you're mine. You're mine and only mine. Typical Aries. Yes. It's very him. It's very Aries of him. Okay. I'm going to do Enhypen Jay. Let's see his sensual and emotional needs. See, Enhypen Jay. Oh wow. Wow. He's like Lee Know energy. Ah, well, okay. Okay, for Jay, we have the Knight of Swords, we have the Hermit, we have the Hangman, and we have longing and desire. Longing and desire. Longing and desire. Doesn't Enhypen have like a song that is called The Desire? I love that song. Well, longing and desire. So I there's something about Jay that he is the kind of person that he prefers to long for the person at a distance. He's like, oh my God, when will be the time that we meet? Him thinking, fantasizing about the person at a distance. So probably, a long distance kind of relationship is very nice for him. He's like, he needs to long for the person. He needs to miss the person. He needs to be like, oh, I want to say he's probably very lazy to do something about this. I think that it's just very fitting for him to be like, oh, I kind of miss them. But we're far away, so well. And then he moves on and think about something else. So his desire is not that like fiery, It's not like that. Yeah, Knight of Swords, the Hermit, the Hangman. I think yeah, he doesn't do much. he tends to, I think that he at this point in his life, 2026, his emotional, it gives me like, it's very similar to what I learned. I when I read for the first one that it was SKZ Lee Know, he also got a lot of swords. So I think that for Enhypen Jay is the same. There's something about him, sort of speaking up. I think that this is not the first time that I have the Knight of Swords for Jay. I don't know if his birthday, I said something about the Knight of Swords, him, maybe setting boundaries with people, just like being like, don't annoy me, don't ask me questions, I don't want to talk about this, or I don't want to talk about my feelings, or just stop asking me about these questions. There's something about certain idols this year feeling a bit fed up when it comes to having to answer certain questions. Maybe the questions or what people want to know about them, they are very fed up about having to answer that question over and over, and it's like there's nothing insightful or just original about this. So I think that he's like, leave me alone. We also have the Hermit. So literally, he's like, leave me alone. Just, don't try to message me. Don't ask me. I don't want to talk about this, But I think that the Knight of Swords is not so much like he's closed off to communication. I think that he is a bit, restless. He's a bit angry about certain things being said about him. So the Knight of Swords is defensiveness also. Like, if you say something bad about me, I'm going to come for you, or I'm going to reply back, or I'm going to, I don't know, say something online. I think that this is the vibe that I got for Jay in Toro season, that it feels like I'm going to defend myself. If you say something about me, or if there's a misunderstanding, because people always misunderstand things, he's like, I'm going to set the record straight. And he is just very much on the defensive. He's very much about like setting boundaries, about being like, you people, you don't have to know all of these things. Just let me be. I don't have to tell you everything that is on my mind. Just let me be. Just let me, I need time. I think that there's something about Jay at this moment in 2026, if we think about his emotional needs, his sensual needs, I think that he's a guy that at this point, he prefers to be alone. This is why we have the hermit and we have the hangman. And I think that this is not because, the guy is not romantic or he doesn't have, sexual needs or emotional needs. It's just that there's something with the Knight of Swords that he's like, I just want people to leave me alone. Stop speculating. If I'm with someone, if I'm with this person, if I'm not with this person, he's like, I need you to let me alone. I think that he's just tired of certain conversations, certain things being said about them, and it's probably about the group as well. So I think that he prefers to be alone. There's also a lot of introspection in these cards. We have the hermit and we have the hangman. So something about these very awkward times, moments where he just prefers to evade himself and be by himself. And I think that there's a lot of introspection. He also probably wants to connect more, be quiet, just not, because I think that he's someone that when he gets attacked, when he feels like he's being under attack or people are claiming something that he's not, he gets responsive. He can actually, get very talkative. Like, he can get very, like, he can reply or just, say something right away because, he's very communicative like this, especially when he feels like offended. He's like, I'm going to tell you how it is. This is my truth. And he can be a bit harsh. This is something that maybe, when you are an idol, if you are like this, it means when I see the Knight of Swords for an idol, I'm like, this is a sign that this idol is fed up. And he's not going to sugarcoat anything. But I think that he's like, okay, I said my truth. Now I'm going to go MIA for a while, or maybe I'm not going to message people on their platforms or just communicate like he usually does, or maybe it's like about, doing live stream or something that they do. He's like, let me be with myself. I need to be by myself. I think that he feels very, just very out of himself. Like I'm a bit like, if you ask me one more time, one more question, I'm going to freak out, and it's not going to be good. So with the hermit and hangman, just let me take distance from this. Let me take distance, and I think that longing and desire. I think that he's like. Probably this also has to do with him, being at a distance from the person that he likes, being somehow at a distance. So he probably he feels the same about a certain person, but he can admit them. So he's like, I have my desire for someone, or I have my desire alive for someone, and I miss someone, or I have that specific person that had always been my person. It doesn't have to be a relationship. It can be an ideal. I find this person sensual. She's like my ideal. Every time I see her, I desire her, but I cannot do something about this except, admire her from distance. So yes. And people talk about him. He attracts a lot of obsessed crazies. Yeah, I see it. And he's like, stop it. He's like, stop it. He's just like, he wants silence. But probably he does, research, or he does read a lot what people are saying. So there's a bit of compulsion from his part as well. He's very well informed. I don't know if Jay, if you are watching my video, please don't get mad at me. I'm just a tarot reader. Don't get mad at me. I hope I'm not offending him. Don't get mad at me. Okay, I'm going to continue with Xiao Zhan, the actor, his sensual and emotional needs. Xiao Zhan. See, this kind of readings feel lighter. See, it feels like this is why I wanted to bring them, because it lights up the mood of certain topics. So I like it. Okay, for Xiao Zhan, we have the Knight of Cups, we have the Nine of Wands, we have the Moon in reverse. I like it for Xiao Zhan, and we have balance and unity. Balance and unity. Balance and unity for Xiao Zhan. Yeah, I think that the last time that I read for him, I saw there was something about his past being unlocked finally, like maybe him, being luckier in his next projects or in his life in general. Because, the Knight of Cups, I think that he is on his way about, maybe healing, about connecting more with his emotional needs, about what he wants as a man, as a person, as an individual. The road is not easy. What he has to transit is not easy emotionally. I think that he's someone that he wants to be in love. He wants to be in a relationship. He's very romantic, but the road is not easy. Honestly, the road is not like open, for him. We have the Nine of Wands, so I think that it is going to take a while for him to get his emotional needs met, because there's a lot of things getting in the way. There's a lot of obstacles. Maybe he also probably, he will meet probably, people that he likes or people that he finds attractive. Maybe their dynamic is going to be very, very rash, very, very, very harsh. That's what I wanted to say. Very harsh. Maybe someone that is like, I don't remember what sign he is, Xiao Zhan, but maybe he's opposite sign. I see fire sign. So, someone that is very challenging, someone that is very, I don't want to say problematic, but there's a lot of like, oh, I'm actually super chill. And this person that I like is the opposite of me. This person is very loud, or they are very demanding, or they always, make it difficult for me to approach them or to get close to them. And I think that he maybe there's a part of attractiveness in this, because maybe he does, even though they are super different and the relationship is challenging, there's something about this being, what he needs. That this person has the energy that he lacks. And we have the Moon in reverse, so there's something about like, let's dissipate, the veil, the confusion, the darkness, let's dissipate the doubts, and also being distrustful. I think that him for a while he had been, sort of a bit, and when I read for him the last time, I remember I said something about him, like I was like, I don't know, did someone put a spell on him or something like this, because his lack seemed to be stuck for quite a lot of years. So it wasn't about work. It was something done to him personally. So when I see the moon in reverse, there's something about, finally, him, probably he's going to have it tough to, meet eye to eye with this person, or maybe him, asking this person, like, can you do this for me because it makes me happy? And this person be like, well, I cannot, because I also have my, maybe this person also has, their personal issues, they have their limitations. But the Moon in reverse is like, all of this is a sort of like a training process of willpower. If you really want to be in love, if you really want to be in a relationship, fight for your relationship. Go through the challenges, go through the uncertainty. If it's worth it, you're going to receive what you deserve. And with the Moon in reverse, there's something about like, like don't let the doubt or the suspicion or the distrustfulness, somehow blur your vision. Just, ask for confirmation. Talk to the person, talk to the person that you like, talk to your loved ones. Let them know, okay, I'm struggling here, but I need your love. I need your attention. Can you please listen to me? Can you please be there for me? Do it from your own style, but do it. Don't isolate yourself. Don't think like, oh, maybe I'm asking for too much, or maybe they should know what I need. No, here, like, I don't think that he has to be like, well, you should know what I need. You should somehow be a sidekick and somehow be like, oh, I think he needs something from me. No, communicate. reach out, move, move, be brave. Be brave. If the person is for you, they're going to understand. They're going to be there for you. They're going to, they're going to get you, because yes, we have balance and unity. Balance and unity. So I think that yes, he wants, his needs, his sensual and emotional needs are, one thing are attached to the other. Is they're united. They cannot be separated. He needs the balance of both parties. He needs to be okay emotionally. He needs to be, satisfied with his emotional needs and also with his sensual needs. Probably he's not like super sensual or sexual. He's not like that. But if he is okay emotionally, he can feel sensual towards the person. He can flow with the energy of attraction if he feels like you truly care for him. So yeah, he's a romantic. He's a romantic, very soft person. But I think that yeah, he has to, overcome these periods of confusion. There was a period where I think that he was blinded by a lot of distrustfulness. He was a bit, even a bit confused. Like, do I trust this person? Is this person good for me or not? Are they my friends or not? And I think that he's a lover. He's someone that he's super sweet. So he definitely deserves to find this, love story that is all about balance and unity. That the person is also very balanced, that they are very beautiful, that they are great at, at everything romantic. They are sensual and they're romantic as well. He's probably happy that finally someone got his message. I guess he can be annoyed at me, like, what are you saying? What is this that you're saying? Okay, I'm going to continue with Chen Zheyuan. Chen Zheyuan. Chen Zheyuan. His sensual and emotional needs. Let's see. He's more specific about he loves a beautiful face. He's just more specific. A beautiful face is something that he, more than the body, he's more like, I love a person with a beautiful face. It's the face, it's the eyes, it's everything. Okay, for this actor, Chen Zheyuan, we have the 8 of Wands, we have the Queen of Swords, and we have the 10 of Wands. Wow, a lot of energy. Someone that is also speaking up. And we have a beautiful face. A beautiful face. So yeah, I think that, yeah, this man honestly also feels like he doesn't have a lot of patience lately. He's also been very, very straightforward and communicational, I would say, very communicative about like, things are happening super fast about him. I don't know if there was a statement or there's a statement or there's a rumor or something about him. Could be with another person because I have the Queen of Swords in here. So could it be like, there's some rumors about him dating someone? This reading is not about that. This reading is to see his emotional, needs, and his sensual needs. But I think that there's something just very, just very confrontative about him, about maybe him setting the record straight. This is why we have the Queen of Swords. He could be this Queen of Swords. Like I'm letting you know that this is, I'm struggling with this. I think that he feels super pressured. Maybe people, expect him to be happy, or to be, when I think about emotional and sensual needs, he probably is a very simple guy. He doesn't want to talk about, what makes him happy or what happiness is. He doesn't want to get philosophical. There's something also very tough about him, about his nature. He is more like an action person. He's not so much like, well, I'm emotional and I sit and I think about, my needs and what I want and what I don't want. No, he's super like, straightforward and a bit cold, I must say. He's always in control. There's something about control here. He's always in control. And one thing that he feels lately is that he doesn't have control of what maybe people are saying about him. There's news, or there's, people talking, or there's certain, I think that there's something coming. There's a rumor or something coming. But I think that, the waters are very, are very agitated for this man. So I don't see him being in harmony. I don't see him feeling connected to his emotional needs or his emotional nature. I think that he's more like, he's a bit fed up as well. He's a bit annoyed, tired, super pressured. He probably, if he's working, he's been overworked, or he has a lot of responsibilities. He's super tired. He's like, I've been holding on to this project, to my life, to, everything in his life. It feels very like there's a burden that he carries. There's literally a burden that he carries. So this is why he cannot relax. He cannot get, introspective, or he cannot get sensitive, or he cannot get, like, what do I need? He doesn't even know what he needs. He only knows that his reality, or maybe what he had been experiencing lately, is very much like a heavy burden. Maybe it's about fulfilling other people's expectations, or maybe there's a lot of pressure. I have the Queen of Swords in here. So there's like a woman being mentioned all the time with him, maybe. Or there's a woman that is associated with him, and she's like, maybe she's like the one that gets the praise, or the one that is talked about the most, and he feels like, well, I cannot confirm or deny, but she is like the star, and I'm like I'm like the one that is next to her somehow. So I think that for him it's very tough. This experience is very like smothering. Like I feel like I'm drowning. I feel like I'm being joked. I feel like I cannot even, But I think that the Queen of Swords in the middle is also, him, being very assertive, and him recognizing that he has been going through a lot. Maybe he's like sustaining a life, or he is sustaining maybe there's expectations. I think that people just, put a lot of his plate. I don't know if this is an expectation of like, maybe he's in competition with a woman, so there's something about like, oh, you should do better than this, like, and he's like, but what do you want me to do? Like, this is how things are for me today, So I think that he's a bit, overwhelmed, and he's very angry, honestly. So I wouldn't be surprised if he says something, because I see the Eight of Wands, and I know something is coming, and maybe it comes from him, because he's like, he's another one that he's like, I need to set the record straight about this. But I think that people will not take it. People will not take it well, because this is the thing. When I see swords, sometimes when I see these people very, inspired to open their hearts and be like, this is my truth, people don't want to hear it. people want to believe in an illusion that you are that character, that you are that guy from that series. You are not yourself. No, we don't want that. We don't want no sad guy, no tired guy. No, we want the role that you play in this place. So yeah, he's just not, he's fighting his frustration. It feels very in the body also, a lot of tension. And he's super tired. But yeah, about his sensual needs, maybe what he finds also, I think that maybe even what he finds attractive and what turns him on is a beautiful face. He's very specific like this. I love faces. I love beautiful faces or unique faces. It's all about the face. For him, it may be about the eyes. If you want to seduce him, it's about the face. Hello, Yashoda. Okay, I'm going to put some cards for this actor and actress. They are a couple. Someone wanted an update on them. I did a reading for them in my channel, but people wanted an update to see how their relationship is doing. Okay. I'm going to read for Chaemin and Ryu Dain. Chaemin and Ryu Dain relationship. He loves her very much. And I'm sorry for the haters, because I know that there's people that they so desperately want him to not be in this relationship, and for him to not, I remember when I read for them the readings on my channel, that I got really happy vibes also. And people really were expecting him to actually, because I believe there were rumors about him being, spotted, in a group with other female, I don't know if it was colleagues and other actresses, and people were like, oh, maybe he broke up with this girlfriend, and he's really serious about this relationship. So, it's kind of curious when people are always like, sorry, curious about, an idol or an actress or an actor's love life, and when they are finally in a real relationship, people want to sabotage it. People want them to break up. People want them like, oh no, because, this is not the ship that I wanted. This is not you dating this girl. Like, this is not how I dreamed it was going to be, not you being with this person. And I think that it's just so silly, that sort of deluluness. He really loves this girl. From her part, I see a bit of struggling. Maybe she's more nervous. Maybe she gets a lot of backlash until this day. So it's really harsh for her to be happy all the time, or to be, just okay. Sometimes she feels super nervous. Maybe she wants to, respond back to some people that are really mean to her. So yeah, but from his part, we have the Strength card, we have the Four of Wands, and we have the King of Cups. He wants to marry her. From her part, we have the Knight of Pentacles, we have the Five of Swords, and we have the Page of Swords. The relationship in the near future, we have the Queen of Pentacles, we have the Ten of Swords, and we have the Six of Pentacles. So is he going to be in a new drama with another famous actress? Because I can see that this is going to create an issue already. Not for the relationship, because the relationship is stable, but I think that there's something about people just wanting to get another woman in the middle. This is, what I was saying about people just not, fully trusting that this man, that, yeah, he's successful, he has a lot of fans, he's probably super handsome, but, he has chosen her already. So I don't know, there could be a bit of, any strategy or something like this to sabotage this connection, which she knows this. This is why I feel her more like uneasy than him. From his part, he's like, I know that it's you. From his part, he's super chill about her. He's super patient, he's having fun with her, he has all these loving feelings about her. He's planning something and he's thinking about her. And he's like, be patient with me. He probably thinks, there's something just, very patient about him because he knows what she must be going through. And it's not easy, to be with someone like him, because probably he's going to get more recognition or he's going to get very important roles. So when you are, the partner, the counterpart of these kind of, very successful, people, especially handsome and wanted people, people tend to always get in the middle and try to make the other part feel bad, especially the woman. Because from her part, the Knight of Pentacles, the Five of Swords, the Page of Swords, I can kind of see her being like, okay, I understand, you want me to be patient, but she's feeling frustrated, she's feeling frustrated. I think that there's something also about her maybe wanting to work on another kinds of, maybe projects, another work, and the work also is not going very well. Maybe she's not going to get that good of roles. Maybe people just being very condescending about her career and her getting roles, but she also has to be patient about this. It's like she always has to settle for, okay, this is the role that you're getting. And I think that she's frustrated as an overall, and she probably has like haters. She has people that they are like, oh, you suck. If it wasn't because you are dating this man, you're no one. Like people are really harsh on her. Maybe they criticize her appearance, or there's something just very harsh about communication, communication, messages. So she is feeling a bit uneasy about this. I think that, and she can take it on him. Actually, she can get very not aggressive, but she can get very, just frustrated at him and being like, people are saying that I'm wrong for you, so we should, end this. And he's like, no, we're not going to end this. I'm not leaving you. He's like super sweet. He's like, but he understands her. He lets her be. If you want to, unleash your anger and frustration, I understand this. But I think that it also has to do with, that they work, on the same industry. So there's something about maybe he is, when it comes to popularity, he's rising very fast. And her roles, there could be a bit of, maybe she's working on something and that gets delayed, or she doesn't get paid that well, or there's a bit of interruptions, or there's changes. So she is not happy these days about, her accomplishments. So, in his case, he's super positive because he's like, I'm doing well, so I want to take care of you, or I want us to have a good future together, because he's working towards this, towards making her happy. But he's super sweet as well. He is a boyfriend. He was born to be a boyfriend. I don't know what sign he is, but he was born to be a husband, because he's super sweet. He's super romantic. Yeah, Queen of Pentacles, Ten of Swords, there could be a bit of jealousy for someone, someone being named, someone famous. But yeah, Six of Pentacles. I think that they will find, if they have these sort of breaks, because there's a lot of talking, I think that they will be able to also find, a reconciliation, because I think that they are very mature people, they are very realistic, also very down to earth. It's just that, the fame, the exposure, it gets, especially from her part, she must be having a really hard time. People must be awful in her comments or in her, accounts. People must be really nasty to her, because the way this woman feels so, like so nervous about this, they must be awful, awful, like the messages. Yes, it's sad. Yes. Because I think that people want him with someone else. And they create these rumors like, oh, he was seen with this person, he was seen with this person. I'm going to read for, I'm going to do an update for Xlov. Vanis Pro wanted an update on them. Xlov, the group. I mean, it's okay, because I think that there's a lot of love. Like, people are really accepting them and loving them. I think that they come from a period of, maybe their process, or maybe their trajectory in K-pop, or I don't know if it's I believe it's K-pop, of course. But I think that their career maybe had started slowly, and they feel like, yeah, we're getting there. It's a slow process for them. Knight of Pentacles, we have the Five of Cups, we have the Nine of Cups, and then we have the King, the Knight of Cups. A lot of love, a lot of satisfaction. I think that they, maybe it's the numbers. The numbers are not, they are not that good, but there's something that, not the relationship, the initial struggles, like the initial insecurities, are slowly becoming their strengths. So there's like a lot of, there's recognition. There's something about them getting exactly what they want. Maybe it's a promotion, but people are connecting so much with them, with Xlov. Besides the music, I think that it's more about their presence or their personalities, that people are loving them so much. People want to hear them. People want to, maybe if they have conversations, people want to see them more. And maybe they are starting to do this more. They're like, well, we are not actually getting paid for this, but, maybe people want to listen to us, or maybe people want to, see what we have to say about certain things. And there's a lot of love and acceptance for these people. A lot of love and acceptance. And I think that they will also, learn to be more loving towards themselves, because they used to be really harsh on themselves, because they probably wanted to achieve something. They had a goal, just because this is a business. We have the Knight of Pentacles, so there's a lot of work in here. There's a lot of work, a lot of preparation, a lot of consistency. Probably they had been working, very consistently through the years. But there were moments of like, this is not the result that we wanted, or we don't know if people really are interested in us. They weren't able to feel the love. And now suddenly open up. Something happened, with the Nine of Cups. It was like an opportunity, a dream come true. Like, oh, you were invited here. So they got more, exposure. And they're super proud of themselves. And I think that they want to continue this. They want to keep doing this. With the Knight of Cups, it's like, okay, we will continue feed you guys this that you want from us. Maybe it's like a more romantic kind of style. There's a lot of emotions here. They also feel very emotional about this acceptance, that it feels like, finally they are being, appreciated, and it feels like it makes them cry, of happiness. Like, I'm so sensitive right now, I want to cry of happiness. These are happy tears, because I feel like you guys really love us, or you guys really want to see us. So I'm like, I'm feeling so sensitive about this. So it's so cool. I like it. And this is also going to inspire them to maybe write about this, or write. Oh, okay, guys. I don't know until when. I hope I hope that I wasn't disconnected that long. Thank you for letting me know. But yeah, thank you, guys. Thank you. Yeah, I think that they will go for this emotional concept. It gives me Pisces vibe. But they are getting the love. They are getting the love. They are getting the acceptance. Oh, thank you. But they totally suit, their approach should be gentle always. Gentle, sweet. Maybe write about emotions, write about, about feelings, emotions. But I think that they are super happy about this reception. It's like, oh wow, people, like, I think that they went through an experience that allowed them to see how much they had accomplished. Because maybe a month prior to this, they didn't see that. They didn't see their own advances. Or maybe they compare it, for example, with numbers. It was super sad. It was super discouraging. Like, wow, these numbers are low. Or we expected to do more, or we expected to do better. Like, why is this so low? And then regretting a lot. But I think that finally something happened. I don't know if they got a promotion, they got into, what did they do? But I think that, them connecting with their fans is the key to success. But also because they're super sensitive themselves. So they need, that retribution. They need that feedback. They need the love. They need the hurts. They need like, oh, we love you. You love us. Oh my God. Like, they need that, super emotional. Are they on tour? But yeah, I see them that they're like, okay, we are coming to you guys, like with our open hearts, But I think that they are super sensitive about this. Like, it made me feel like emotional, super emotional about them, because I think that they didn't believe it themselves, that they were so loved. They didn't think that this will happen to them. Okay, I'm going to pull a few cards because I know that I read for Niki. I did a Niki update the other day because I remember Yashoda mentioned him, but I didn't know. I just pulled cards because I didn't know what was going on with Niki. So, people wanted to see how he's doing or how he's going to do, how his energies are after this that happened, because when I pulled the cards, I saw something, but since I didn't have the context, I didn't know, what else to say. I was like, oh, I see this. So I basically just described what happened that people already knew, but I wasn't aware of this. So yeah, let's see. This is going to be, very short. Also, I'm not going to dive that much into this whole situation because, there's no need to add more. Of course, we know that this must be really awful for him, for the members, for everyone. So there's no need to get, that specific about energies when we know that probably they're not going through the best times. So yeah, I'm going to pull a few cards for Nikki, and we're going to leave it at that. We're going to leave that poor young man alone. Okay, let's see. Nikki and Enhypen. Yeah, and Enhypen, yes. Yeah, for Nikki, Two of Swords. We have the Judgment in the middle, and we have the King of Swords. And then we have the Moon card, Confront. Confront. So yeah, I mean, yeah, judgment all the way. Like I think that there's no in here. There's no like. It's not about feelings, but I think that when it comes to his mind, he's someone that he's feeling very like, very confused about all of this that happened. And with the judgment, probably it's going to continue. It's going to continue. It's going to continue for a while. I see a King of Swords here. It could be like a lawyer or something, or maybe someone with about law that could be coming up to defend him, or maybe defend him like legally, like, guys, stop talking about this, or stop, mentioning this, like, somehow misinformation, or just people adding more accusations or more judgment toward him. But yeah, I think that these are moments that are super sensitive. We have the Moon that is in here in this deck. It says confront, but yeah, the Moon is about this, these dark times, these moments of a lot of confusion. He probably feels very confused. He feels like, like, I don't know where to go, or I don't know what to say. Like, probably, the best would be for him to not say. I mean, he could say something, because I have the King of Swords, so someone is going to speak up, but it could be more like legal than anything, because the judgment here, it's like they're going to judge him anyways. If he talks or if he doesn't talk, there's going to be judgment anyways. I think that when I pulled cards for him last week, I believe it was, he's someone that it seems like the moment he wants to express himself, there's always like a radar. There's always someone. There's like, I wonder if there's like some people infiltrated to somehow create more chaos. And yes, because there's a lot of swords, so it's not so much about what is being done. It's more about like conversations, people talking, people spreading misinformation. People do not let this go, do not let him go. So I think that energetically, these are very harsh moments for someone like Nikki. He's super confused. He's also, he knows, he's aware of the judgment to his person, to the group, to anything. So but I kind of see that there's someone by his side, a King of Swords. It could be a lawyer, or it could be like, a leader, someone. I don't think that is a CEO, but I think that is someone that maybe can help him also, maybe, talk to someone, someone older than, like a mentor. That I mentioned this, like when I when I read for Niki that moment, I said, like, this guy doesn't have anyone, that he needs someone to talk to. Because I think that the judgment is a lot, there's something about, with the Two of Swords, there's something like he always has this confusion about people's reaction. Just like I mentioned, in the reading, even he always gets criticized. This is like, is like whether he does something or not, he's always like the one. He's always like the one. So I wonder, like, and also this King of Swords has appeared in the reading that I did for him, and I said that this was his son. Remember that I said, like was he close to his son? No one answered me if he's close to his son or not. But I think that I saw his son represented in this King of Swords. So I wonder if also his son has like reached out to him after this, because I think that is his son. Because I think that Niki relies a lot on his son, and his son being gone also had like somehow shaken a bit his foundations. So if you're a fan of them, I would appreciate if you will give me a feedback about how close they were, because I feel his son, like I'm like, it could be a CEO, it could be someone, but I feel it strongly like it's his son, by his side, because I think that after this happened, there's maybe, I don't know, I think that these companies are totally blinded about what their idols need. But I think that this situation is sort of, is also a teaching moment for them to learn that they need, they need to take care of their idols. They need to be there for them. I think that Niki had always needed someone to talk to. This is not about him having a coach telling him what to do, but I think that he never can express fully himself, because there's a lot of restrictions, there's a lot of people. I think that people, maybe this is in the comment section or something like this of his videos or his live streams, people are ready to catch him. Ready. And probably this is not only him, maybe it happens to another idols as well, where they are ready to get that, that clip or that, that part where like, oh, look what you said, and I think that has to stop. But it's not going to be so easy, because we have the moon that is, confront. Yes, it's like, this is like the shadow part of his life. This is the shadow part of the industry. This is the shadow part, the messy, confusing, totally manipulative part of this industry. That I think that he's like, wow, like there's something about this industry or the way they manage themselves that maybe he wasn't that aware of how shady people can be. And now he's slowly realizing this. And of course, it's going to be very uncomfortable, and it's going to be very, I don't see him doing something like, I don't know, I don't see hiatus neither. But I think that the judgment will continue for a while. I think that the judgment will continue for a while. And I think that, yes, he has to also, maybe with the moon card, I think that he will become more distrustful about people in the near future. And not just, the fans or some people online. I think that it's going to be about, the I want to say the company, but it's about, people that manages him, because I think that something weird happened, after this happened, like maybe he again was left alone. No one talked to him. No one opened a conversation. No one supported him the way he needed. So I think that he's also like being treated very weirdly. So I think that this is why we have the moon, that there's something just very confusing about the way they don't know how to support him. They don't know how to guide him through this. They probably leave him to his luck, and he's like, well, don't post, don't say anything. This is why I say the King of Swords, and I'm like, this could be his son, reaching out like an older brother and being like, I have to talk to you. I'm going to be there. I don't care if they don't want me to. If they want me to stay away from you, I'm going to be there. So yeah, but these are, very confusing moments where he's like, wow, I thought that, there's a lot of mask falling, there's a lot of superficiality also. Maybe he's like noticing certain ways of handling things that he's like, this is so shady. Like, I feel used. I feel like I don't know who to trust. He feels sensitive like this. Probably he doesn't say anything, but he's like, I feel so awkward about this. Yeah, he will have to navigate, not knowing, uncertainty, feeling, probably, things are going to get awkward about him or around him until, time passes. But I don't see a hiatus, so probably he will be active. But maybe even people being a bit shady about him. Like, just not, there's an awkward silence. There's something just very, like, weird. This is why I always say, like, why is it always Niki? I swear, I think that there was a time where I was like, is this discrimination? Are you being discriminative towards him? Because I think that there's something just very odd about the way they treat him. Just very detached, like, well, no conversation, no engagement, no looking at you in the eye, asking you how you are, what you think. Like, oh, I'm like, oh. Yeah, definitely. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, not say anything. Do not just, yes. That's it. Yes. Yes. It is always him. I'm not sure if they see he as a tool only. Yes. And he's super young. He's super young. To be accused of these things is super young. I think he's the only one. Okay, guys, I'm going to go because I have to feed my cats. It's their time to eat. So thank you so much for the recommendations. Thank you guys for being here with me this Sunday. Thank you, Yashoda. Thank you, Chachalino. Thank you to everyone that joined. And I will see you, if everything goes well, on Thursday. I will see if I can make it. And if I can create another topic or maybe a Q&A, so we can expand on different subjects. But I hope that you enjoyed this, and thank you for watching. Bye.